Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. The rising player culture. Yeah, it's interesting. We got so many movements building out here, and it's really a response to gynocentrism. It's a response to feminism, and it's really what I'm about to talk about going to be a response to the slut shaming, right? And that's going to be the rise of men who proudly own up to being womanizers. Now, some people might say it's already there with PUA or something, but no, not really. PUA is, it's a business industry, right? Because if you look at the number of people who deal with PUA, you got the guys maybe making some money, but how many actually live in that lifestyle? If you got 100 people in a class or something, 5 might get something out of it. And I'm saying this after feedback from many people, including some industry insiders, right? And just to be clear, what I do, I'm not a part of that industry. I was doing my stuff before I even heard of the industry. So, but that, some people might say that as an example, but you're going to get something bigger, right? Because what you have out there, okay, starting with that whole slut thing, you got these women, and there was something with Amber Rose. I actually knew one of the women who was speaking on the stage. I was like, oh my God. You got women, they want to be all fired up, and they want to be able to wear what they want down there. They want to throw their sexuality out there. In fact, on one of my Facebook feeds, which if any of those particular women hear this, they're probably unfriend me. I'm like, oh well. But there was actually a feed one time where these women were bragging. They were basically bragging about the times they got 2 different dicks in a day. And that was a long ass thread. I was like, get the fuck. I mean, they were like, yeah, I love it. They were talking about what they were doing and all of that. And plus you got a growing amount of women who are getting into, they're just they're getting into stuff like polyamory and all of that. Some of the other sexual subcultures out there. Right. And, and just overall with feminism, women just want to be free to fuck. You get a lot of, if you really look at a lot of divorces or even women cheating, the thing is the freedom to fuck. When they feel like, hey, we can do that. But see, part of the problem there is, and some other YouTubers have addressed that issue, is, they want to have the freedom to do that. But then you have so many men. They want the men to still be responsible. Because have you noticed that though? If you look at a woman and she up there and she, some people gonna call her a slut or a hoe or anything, but you got women fighting for that right just to have as many men as they want, do what they want. But if a man, y'all notice if a man lives that same thing, they tell him he got to grow up. And, that's part of that whole thing is they want to do what they do, but then they want the men to still hold everything in place. Nah. Look, what's going to happen? I don't think it's happened yet to a full extent, but I think it will. If things continue the way they are, this will happen. You're going to get a rise of dudes who you ain't going to be able to shame anymore. They ain't going to give a fuck. You already got a few now. And when I say a few, because, I'm in different men's groups on social media. I see what the men are saying. Most men still want to get married. Most men, they just want a woman who's like relatively virtuous and all of that, but they still want to get married. But and sometimes you get some of these guys out here who say, I'm just trying to fuck whoever and I'm just going to fuck whoever. There's still some guys who going to try to shame them and stuff, right? But you want to get a rising tide of men, of womanizers, blatant womanizers who going to say, nah, I ain't trying to settle. I'm an unrepentant dog. I'm a player. and I'm just going to go do my thing, you know? And it's not going, and see, like I said, it's not quite there yet, because even some guys who seem like they're about their life, in a lot of those cases, you know, they get that one woman and everything is like, they stop it. But you're going to get some guys, they just going to say, they just going to go on and just do their thing. They just going to say, hey, you know what? Good God. What's somebody going to text me this morning? Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, right? They're just going to go do their thing. And after a while, people going to talk and they're going to say, hey, we're going to go out here and say, you know what? If y'all got the right to say you can be a slut, you can do this, you can wear these clothes, we're going to say we have the right not to want to marry your ass. We're going to say we have the right to say we're going to deal with multiple women. You know? And see, the funny thing with that is there's going to be plenty of women who actually going to support it. Yeah, you heard me. They going to support it. Now, publicly, they ain't going to support it. They're going to say, oh, you should do this and you shouldn't do that. Because if you look at a lot of it out there, a lot of what's going on a bigger basis, a lot of it is a lot of stuff that goes against men is an attempt to control men's sexuality. Because that's the underlying part of this big thing with sexual harassment. Now, I ain't saying I condone it. I definitely don't condone it. But it sends a message to other men not to be as aggressive sexually, you know? But despite all that, you still going to have some women. They still going to chase some dudes. They still going to sexually empower some dudes. Now, publicly, they might say, oh, you know, he needs to be a good man. He needs to marry and all that. Because that's one thing about women. Let me give y'all some game. They will tell a man, oh, I just want sex from you and all of that. And, you know, I don't want anything serious. And then I swear this never fails. Because I've experienced it several times. As soon as you give them exactly that, you say, okay, I ain't going to call you all the time. Then they like, how come you don't call me? Do you love me? Like, how come you don't love me? I say, I thought you just wanted a casual thing. Nah, those women get addicted. And that's why I say women, you know, publicly, they going to be like, oh, you know, these guys should be right. They need to grow up. They need to settle down. They need to step up to the plate, blah, blah, blah. But behind closed doors, they're going to be lined up for a dude. So they actually going to help support it, you know? And see, it's going to rise not so much because of men deciding, you know, they tried to do the right thing and decide, oh, shoot, I'm going to let the dogs loose. It ain't even going to be that. You really going to see something, unless there's a drastic change in the environment, you're going to start seeing that whole player thing rise maybe in the next few years, because you get a lot of young men out there, a lot of young men who they seen their parents divorce, or, you know, they seen their mothers mess with players, you know. And, you know, when the boys see that, they learn not to trust women's nature. They learn, they growing up into this. They not going to be inclined to want to get married. And the ones who have the skill set, they're going to say, you know what, I'm just going to deal with multiple women. I mean, it's just how it's going to be. Now, the women, you're going to get some women still try to say, oh, you need to be responsible and all that, because, you know, that thing, honestly, that thing about women trying to control a man's sexuality and what he does, that's been a millennia thing. You know, that's been going on. No telling where that started, probably going back millions of years or something, because a man by nature wants to spread his seed. So women, you know, to make sure she got those provisions and everything, needed to figure out a way to keep him stay put. So that's even bigger than like feminism or whatever, or, you know, these third wave feminists, whatever. But the thing is, they want a certain amount of guys to, they want a certain type of guy to, you know, be the responsible ones, but they still going to empower those players. they still going to do it. And then even some of the ones who might have been the more provider types, they're going to start saying fuck it too. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, it's funny. Women will say they want all this freedom and stuff, especially when they're young. All right. They'll say they want all this freedom. They want they want to be able to do who they want to do, chase who they want to chase, chase that unicorn. Get mad if you tell them not to, if you tell them to be realistic. But they ain't thinking about the other side. They ain't thinking, well, if you're doing all this, when it comes time for you to settle down, or you want to settle down, you want a steady family. Shoot, the message that you gave these guys when they were young is, hey, be a player. And so, at some point, watch. I guarantee, I don't know when it's going to happen, but, we're going to keep getting these slut marches and all of that stuff. One day, you're going to get that player march. And, yeah, people going to be booing all that, And then you're going to probably get some women out there with those signs like, boo, oh, y'all got to be responsible. And while a woman's holding the sign, she's looking at that one dude like, oh, shit, he wearing gray sweatpants. Oh, shit. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of at what point. I don't know what the tipping point will be, but it's going to happen. It's like you can just see it, And at some point, and I don't know, it might happen sooner because I got a lot of young guys who like read my stuff. A lot of young guys, and they might just say, And in fact, I talked to some young guys. They like, what, Ron? I ain't trying to get married, and so you're gonna get that thing is gonna rise up. I don't know if women gonna like that though. I don't know, because what's gonna really make it go to that next level really ain't so much the players, but the providers deciding to be players. I think that's what's gonna upset some people. I don't know, but it's coming though. Anyway, something to think about. Y'all have a good day now, and let me return this text. Peace.